doing the math and understanding, have we done enough to where if we lose our job or if something unexpected happens with our health and we have to retire, or we're just fed up with our job,
Yeah, that's
we
it.
just want, take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no
Right.
more. And that's okay too.
When you contact us, it can be for things like that, but also if you need some help with retirement, our team is always here. And we received a call from a woman in her early 60s who believes her position at her company is likely to be outsourced in the near future. I'm not going to give many more details other than that because, we don't want to give it away, but I think it's a relatable situation to many at the same time. So how can someone over 60 best prepare for a possible forced retirement? Maybe it's because of AI or just cause.
What's really interesting to me is that I find from time to time we have people come in and they're not actually quite ready to retire.
Right.
They just want to know they can.
There is a freedom in knowing you just can sometimes.
Yes, that is freedom.
Well, it's also acknowledging the reality of where you're at too, right?
It is.
Because some people want to walk around, what's the phrase? Like they'd rather just the glory in not knowing, right?
Yes.
Why are you
Be in
staring at me
denial.
like that?
They're sailing down Denial River.
You're trying to think of something funny to say.
I always have something.
Ignorance is bliss sometimes.
It just comes out.
Yes, ignorance is bliss sometimes. But when it comes to retirement, like just acknowledging what could be is an important step towards proper planning.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say?
Yes. A lot of times people need that reality check. What is reality for me? And for so many that come in, they've done such a wonderful job preparing that it's really, I just told a couple 2 weeks ago, I said, hey, the good news is you can retire whenever you choose. He said, so if I don't want to work 3 more years, I don't have to. I said, absolutely not. I said, obviously the longer you work, the closer you get to age 65, the less health insurance will cost you. I said, but other than that, you can afford to pay for the health insurance. It's just whether or not you want to. You want to keep working to 65 to get, Medicare and have a lower cost in health premiums? Or would you prefer to retire sooner? Okay, we'll have to figure all that out. But that's just part of the equation. That's part of the, the income plan. That's part of the math we do when we're calculating all those things in is, okay, what's it going to cost to retire? Have you saved enough? And we will have enough to go in each of the 3 areas. Will we have enough liquid for needs, wants, and emergencies? Do we have enough to, generate the income you need and still have plenty left for growth?
Well, I think you skipped a very vital thing that someone, that's fairly young, 60 is still fairly young, should be thinking about if there's a possibility of this happening to them. And what I think it is it's really establishing the lay of the land. So establishing the budget, understanding what they're spending and what their liabilities are before they take the step of understanding, where the income's going to come from or how their investments are set up. I think understanding what you actually have before you know what you need, I think is really important.
Right. And so to get the validation that people want, whether it's because you are totally done with your job, I'm working with a family right now, we're dead, what should I say? We're smack dab in the middle of building their plan. And the plan has changed a little bit because the husband has a high stress job. We're right now 7 days a week. He's got to go at it, and there's no time for vacation. There's no time for family. There's hardly even time for us to find the time to connect over the phone. It's that intense right now for him. And he's like, Greg, I don't know that I can sustain my health long enough to work 3 or 4 more years. I kind of planned on that, but he says, I don't think I can keep going 3 or 4 more years.
Well, and if this is who I think I was in your office, well, we share an office, people. He
can't give him priority over the office.
So I share an office with him. And is it who I was sitting in the office? And yeah. So he was having this conversation, What I think is interesting about that couple is they've been clients for several years, and we've adjusted their plan a couple times.
Yes.
And so this ongoing conversation as those things are happening, that's important, but that couldn't have happened unless they did the pre-planning that was necessary to see where they were at in the first place.
Yes. And, we had this conversation, which was, okay, we thought we needed this much, but in reality, we need this much.
And he's putting his hair for those listening to radio.
So in other words, borrowed high, which is okay. But that requires additional planning, which is fine because they have the resources to be able to do it. And that's the key. Finding out, doing the math and understanding, have we done enough to where if we lose our job or if something unexpected happens with our health and we have to retire, or we're just fed up with our job.
Yeah, that's
and
it.
just want, take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more. And that's okay too.
Can I do that to you?
No. You cannot.
Sorry. Go ahead. You just got so excited, so I got excited with you.
She wanted to take the job and shove it, Greg.
All right. And that goes into that second part of what we were going to say is build a flexible income plan. It has to be flexible because if you decide to retire sooner, if you decide to retire later, I mean, if things change, can your plan be flexible? And that's so important. If not, I met with a couple recently, and they had done so well. They had saved over $9 million, which is more than what a person saves. And the majority of it was in what we call non-qualified accounts with huge capital gains.
Mm-hmm.
So they were never going to sell those shares. That's part of the legacy they're going to leave behind. They had IRAs too. And the husband's done a fantastic job. He's done most of the management himself over the years. And, he came in and we talked, and he came in because of taxes. And we did a Roth conversion plan, but they're in their later 70s. And I showed him, I said, well, here's the break even point, which would put him in his upper 80s. And there was nearly $3 million in IRAs there. And I'm like, we're never really going to get you where you really want to be when it comes to Roth conversions.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say at your situation that I would really recommend them in his situation. So I said, if you ever get tired of doing it all yourself and you want some help, then we're happy to walk alongside you in whatever capacity you would want our help. And, he'd come in earlier in the year and decided, no, he wasn't quite ready for that. But then he came back in recently and said, I think I am ready for a little help. He said, now, I still want to manage most everything, but there's this one IRA that's just under $2 million, so I'd like your help with. So I showed him what our team could do. He felt very comfortable. He said, yeah, that makes sense for us. He'd gone to somewhere else here locally, and I won't mention any names. And they were like, yeah, we should put all your IRAs into it. And I said, did they give a reason that they should all go in annuities? He said, well, they said because all my money was at risk. I said, well, let me ask you this question. Do you have the tolerance for that risk? He said, yes. I said, do you have the capacity or the affordability? He says, yeah, I think so. I said, so in your mind, there's no reason that you would necessarily need to protect any of that. You have plenty of money in savings as well. And he's like, yeah. I said, yeah, I'm not going to recommend an annuity for you. So this is where planning, when you meet with a planner, you need to make sure that they don't have something in their back pocket ready to spring on you when you walk through the door, that it's a true plan based on your individual needs. Now, do we use annuities in our practice? Absolutely we do when they're appropriate. But are they for everybody? Absolutely not. So when it comes to planning for your retirement, whether it's expected or unexpected, make sure you're working with people who have your best interest at heart, number one, and have the expertise to help you accomplish what you actually need to do.
Yeah.